Hitting it now. So we should be live now. Hey guys, hopefully you can hear us.
Let us know if you can. If you can't hear us, let us know by saying we can't hear you. We're letting you know.
Or just say that you can hear us, one or the other. Anywho.
Tuesday,
so yeah,
Stuart. Tuesday.
It is. We're here to talk about my least favorite characters, and I'm not a very popular, well, not a favorite actress of mine either. Phillipa Georgiou today. Yay.
Well, not just that though, but everything in that character's future, or shall we say past.
Yes.
And do you like how I did the thumbnail that she represents the concept more rather than just her leaving? It was,
yes.
You know, these are the two people in their sort of costumes that they would be in Section 31. Ha 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 ha.
Yes. Very good. It's good to see him back. Even if it's just a thumbnail.
Yeah, it's kind of a conceptual live today, talking about what we think may or may not. We know there's been some interesting questions, and also just her in general, as maybe we can answer the age-old question of, you know, was it really the Mirror Universe, etc., etc.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are confused to when she got thrown back in time. There's no clarification as to when exactly, but just when the universes were more in sync with each other. So, you know, there's a big window of time that she could be in. So, and yeah, looking forward to hearing your thoughts on it as well as the audience out there. So thank you guys for joining us. Hit that like button if you haven't. And yeah, you know the routine already.
But I will start sharing to get us right into this. I'll see you in a minute.
Okay. Yeah, so just got back from the dentist, guys. So my tooth's still feeling a little weird, funky. But yeah, it's a great time for me to tell you guys about Super Chats. You all know about Super Chats. They help the channel. You get your comment or question read. See, Sebastian, aka Space Daddy, just put one in, so thank you very much. I'll get to that in a second as soon as Samuel gets back, but he's going to share this around, get a few more viewers. Make sure you hit that like button. Also a great way to help us out. And check out the description of every video. There's links for Teespring store and a whole bunch of cool stuff down there that you can check out. So yeah, hope this will be an interesting discussion. We're not sure how long it's going to be, just because it kind of depends on how things go, but I can tell you I'm personally not in a mood to be like on here for 2 hours, but if it happens, it happens. We'll see. I usually get in a better mood by the end of these anyway, so hopefully that'll happen this time. So yeah. Looks like they were canceling spin-off based on how her storyline concluded. We just haven't heard anything about the Section 31 spin-off for quite a while. But they've set it up to the point where it definitely can be a thing for sure. I think she's going to have some cameos and stuff in Strange New Worlds, but we'll talk about that in a minute here. So, all right. So make sure you guys hit that like button, share it around to anybody you think will like it, and, you know, thank you for joining us today. You can also send a PayPal as well, Trekyards@hotmail.com. Just let us know that you sent one in the chat. Make sure one of the moderators knows so that they can let us know, and we will read your comment or question via the email for PayPal if that's the way you want to do it. It's always an option. Paul Grahams is number 17, but where are they? What? Is that in relation to something? I don't know. Anywho, Ezra says if they don't make a Section 31 show, she'll probably be in a cameo for another. Yeah, she'll definitely. I think she'll be showing up in some kind of capacity in a cameo as well. So, but yeah. Anyway, look, Samuel's back. Yay! We got a super chat too.
That's me. Oh, excellent.
Sebastian, aka Space Daddy, puts in €5 and says, interrupting watching Santa Claus Conquers the Martians to watch this live. Yeah. Ooh, that's a classic.
Well, that isn't live, but we are. So
yeah.
You could press pause on us, but ruin some of the charm.
Well, thank you for chiming in with the super chat. They are important, so
Yes.
thank you so much. And 54 people here now, 32 likes. Guys, as soon as you pop in, hit that like button. If we say something along the line that you dislike, then you can hit dislike, or just hit the like button to cancel your like. But hit it as soon as you get in here, and hopefully, yeah.
So Stuart, she walked through a space gate, space and time gate.
Yes.
Do you remember your reaction to that when they got to that moment?
Well, at that point, I kind of like, okay, they made me not hate the character, so kind of annoying to see her go now, but whatever.
Although, do you actually mean hate? I mean, now we're talking about her exclusively. Where did you kind of end on her character at the end of the 3 seasons? Well, she's had 2 characters as well, but you know what I mean. Where did you end off?
Yeah. I could care. I just don't care about her character. I mean, this last episode definitely did make it so that she's at least likable, more so than she was. But I wasn't even a fan of Captain Georgiou personally. There's nothing about her that stood out for me. So it was just kind of a situation.
And where does that fall? You know, because I think you could arguably say we also don't care about any of the bridge crew really. Where on the where in the ranking does the Georgiou character go in the I just don't care factor? More than Roshicum, less than Roshicum, Bryce, whatever. Where on the line of? Because you obviously got 10 times more screen time than any of them, all of them put together. But where on the list would she be?
She's at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
I definitely care about Bryce and Reese and Awashikam and all them way more than Georgiou.
Even though they're given maybe 2 lines a half a season.
Yeah.
But she's the main character. And a Hollywood actress.
But I have to like who I'm watching, and I don't know. Just it's some of it I've never been a fan of, so I don't know. Although I gotta say, in that last episode, they did make the character redeemed a little bit, and it was kind of sad to see her go. So, but yeah, no problem having her leave. If she gets her own show, that'll be cool, because I think they will have, what's his name there? I forget the actor's name.
Shazad Latif.
That guy, yeah, have him back, and I like him. So who knows? It could be a good ensemble cast for the Section 31 show, should they decide to do it. We haven't really heard much about it in the last little while, so not sure how a go it is, but they definitely set it up so that they have an open door to do something with her. So
there's that interesting caveat about that show in that when Star Trek Beyond came out, they announced Star Trek 4 with Chris Hemsworth. As Star Trek Beyond was coming out, as a way of hyping getting pressed, because then press sites could talk about that in the weeks leading up to and get people excited, because of course this film will be a smash success. They've already got the next one planned. And so going to Discovery season 2, I believe it wasn't even 3, they announced Section 31, the show, and then they keep getting asked about it and say, oh yeah, there's a writer's room and people are talking about it, but there's confirmed no green light or budget or anything, so it's very much a conceptual show. But it very much felt and still feels like just a way of promoting the current show, saying, hey, we've got the theoretically highest profile actress on the cast signed up to be the lead of a new show. That
what it was? It was a meeting between all of the writers and Alex Kurtzman, and they're like, it'd be a good idea, Section 31 show. Yeah, like all political intrigue and dark and woo. Yeah, it's a great idea. Let's throw that out there, see what the fans think. And so they mentioned it, and everybody said, we hate that idea. We don't want that. So they never followed up on it.
And it's not even like the idea itself, it's them doing the idea. If it was a show following Bashir, Garrick, and Sloan.
Hey, that'd be cool. I'd watch that.
See, exactly. As soon as you change the paradigm to just be Bashir, it would be pretty interesting. So it's a really kind of nebulous show, and obviously her being we don't really care one with the other sort of character, that's not exciting. Like, you wouldn't watch it for her being in it. No, you wouldn't watch it for Shazad either, but you would be interested to see what they would do with him. Whereas it's like when you put Hitler in your show, you're really never gonna care if he gets a wife and a kid and happy ever after.
Well, they did foreshadowing with the Guardian saying that the newspaper says you're gonna have heartaches and it's gonna be a bumpy ride and it's gonna be some rough times, and that's very much, it reminded me very much of Assignment Earth, where Kirk and Spock say to Roberta Lincoln and Gary Seven, "Oh yeah, according to our computer, you're going to have some, good adventures to come," because they were setting up for that to be its own show, with Gary, and it just never went anywhere. That was actually a pilot episode for that. So. Hear any of that?
No, you heard all of it.
What did we hear?
The assignment Earth.
That's as far as it got, really?
Well, as a
wow
backdoor pilot.
Well, yeah, and his line of saying that was the same as Kirk and Spock, like I said, saying the computer says you're going to have some interesting adventures ahead of you guys. That's all we can tell you. Hint, hint. And then the show just never went anywhere. His line of saying, yes, bumpy times ahead and some heartache and some, it's the exact same thing. So they definitely trying to set up another show, I think. But I think what's going to happen is Wayback Tech said what is happening with the Pike series said to be happening. And I think Strange New Worlds is going ahead with Pike. And I think she's going to probably pop up on there at least once or twice, maybe just in the pilot episode, to be like, hey, look, I'm back. Ha. And then it's going to lead into her own show eventually. But that's what I think is going to happen.
Well, so. I mean, it's weird because the character is so uninteresting that, if they wait another 2-3 years and say, hey, we got Georgiou back, like, there's nothing there. So you'd need kind of the linking it direct, for at least for their point of view, you'd need to link off the sort of the hype from, Discovery era, Strange New Worlds, etc., to try and at least make it vaguely interesting. Unless you do the hard reset of it, it's a totally different show. Although it's, I don't know. I mean, Strange New Worlds. I mean that they shouldn't have announced shows that they felt like doing without really putting money into. Because normally you actually announce shows once they're already in production because you've worked out their good ideas, you've started producing them, you've got a pilot, boom. Or you make the pilot, you show the networks, they commission it or don't. You remember they made a Game of Thrones prequel pilot. It was not picked up. So they made a full pilot, millions of dollars, but they just didn't like it as much. Although obviously Game of Thrones, they burned the end of their season, so of course the interest after that was going to be destroyed because they destroyed their own show, but whatever.
But it's a different landscape now with TV and stuff. Like, back in the day you would do that. You'd make a pilot.
Well, that was last year, so...
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a different landscape now. That's why it didn't work. I'm getting to my point there.
Sorry.
You used to make a pilot and take it to every network and say, are you interested? Are you interested? And one would finally pick it up or not. Today, with social media the way it is, and having access to all these points of view immediately just by one little tweet or whatever, you can really gauge fan reaction and see what would be of interest to people. And I think that's more the way the studios are going. Like, it's like a test audience or something like that, where they throw you an idea or show you a piece of the part of the video or the movie, and you just say whether you like it or you didn't, and based on that they'll make changes. So I think with the access to social media now, which they didn't have back in the 60s and 70s, it's a different landscape for getting ideas. You're not going to spend all the money to make a pilot and then have it.
Let's see if that did. Cross the fingers, Stuart. Oh,
they're crossed. Yeah, we're back.
Let's see if that did. Okay, sorry, read the super chat again.
George Mangrum, $5. The costume designer Gersha Phillips just said in an interview that she is working on the Section 31 uniforms. Yes, the Section 31 uniforms, but is that because there's a small group of Section 31 people that show up in Strange New Worlds, which we know they've been ramping up production for? Or is it specifically for the show? Like, you can take what people say and, twist it a bunch of different ways. Did she say, yeah, there's this new Section 31 show coming out and I'm designing the costumes for it? Or was it a line of dialogue like, yeah, I've been busy with a lot of the stuff for Trek, some Section 31 costumes and stuff. Then continue on? Like,
I think there was context, it's for the new show, but working on it could also mean I was given a sketch by our Discovery artist who was then freelance hired. There's no official staff on this new show, so he was paid by Kurtzman. I was asked to make an example uniform to show the studio. So I was working on Section 31 uniforms for an unconfirmed, ungreenlit show. You know, that could easily build them in as well. But just remember, guys, that Gersha actively said the TOS aesthetic don't hold up. That the designs for all the sets and stuff like cardboard, and that they can never be made to look good now. So,
Yeah.
you know, I honestly wish she had moved on to different projects a couple of years ago, which means not even going on the show, to be honest. You know, she's done fine work, and she's, you know, they've made her do better Trek work. But if you have a person as the lead person like that says TOS looks unsalvageable, well, that's a bad perspective. Everything you do is going to be marred by, oh, ignore TOS.
Yeah.
Whereas it should be the opposite. Everything should be inspired by TOS in that era. So that's a problem with picking her.
It's a very good point. Very good point. Kyle Wong, 5 pounds. I would like to see Sloan return, but that depends which year the show is based on. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Sloan return. Some of my favorite episodes of Deep Space Nine have Sloan in them. So, but anyway, yes, it would definitely have to be obviously prior to his death. So,
well, which death?
Obviously his real death, because his fake death, you know, you could definitely play around with that with the series. So.
Mm-hmm.
What? What'd you hear?
Not all of it. You're fine. You just pause at the end.
Oh, good. Eugene, 100 rubles. Was Shazid Latif confirmed to be in the Section 31 show?
Well, no one is.
No, but he's a member of Section 31.
No, he's the head of Section 31 now.
Georgiou. Yeah, well, exactly. So of course he'd be in it.
So if it was in Discovery era, he would have to be, unless she came in and, you know, cut off his head, etc. And besides, he's one of the more liked actors, I think, because he gives off a good, you know, vibe. Not just we like him. I mean, we like most things. We like all the cast for the most part. Like, they're really good people. They're just not very good characters this season. The exception. And
we need to hear him say Kailash.
Fighting the wars of Kailash. Oh. But no, it's interesting because the character Georgiou, she was vanilla as all hell as the original captain. I don't know why they were. Definitely felt like a throwaway. We know she's going to die. Let's not bother doing anything interesting with her. She was
Seems like.
At the time, we was like, oh my god, she's much better as Empress Georgiou. And then she suddenly fills in and feels, you know, as they actually said in Mirror Mirror, a barbarian is harder to fit in with civilized people and civilized people barbarians. And yet she works absolutely fine in our universe for a year. You know, it just is unrealistic. It doesn't work. It's too easy. And clearly she never had a plan anyway. We were waiting this entire season. Did she have a plan to go back home? No.
Yeah.
Like, there was never anything back there. There was nothing behind, even, you know, the scene when she's talking to the guy with glasses. Like, there's nothing else. There's no levels to her in these last 2 years, really.
Well, John McHugh says, but she went back in time, so will Tyler even exist in timeline? Yes, is the answer.
Well, unless the Guardian...
They're not going to throw away... Sorry, go ahead.
Unless the Guardian puts her in another alternate universe like it did for her mirror.
Which she said he wasn't sending her back to Terra, but, I mean...
No, another
alternate
just
makes sense.
Prime.
Well, yeah, but, I mean, you've already set up this character of Tyler. Like, why would you not use that? Good actor, good character. People liked him. He was head of Section... It just makes... It's a perfect fit for a Section 31 show.
Although good character...
If they ignored that... Because if they ignored that, there's a problem.
Although a good character, we ignore that he was once a Klingon. Because they started to ignore that more and more in Season 2. Same with Tilly's Asperger's-y stuff. It's like, let's just ignore that completely. It's like, okay, we introduced it. Nope. Going to completely drop it as a character trait.
Yeah. Although him being that is a good thing for an agent to be. Like, you know, like it would play in well to the character in the show.
And in fact,
but...
you know, I wish they'd done more of that, because Aaron Darvin, even 300 or even 15 years later, the Tribble could tell. I guess he was more invasive, but I mean, Aaron Darvin is implied to be the same. This, you know, he was a test bed for that, so you'd think they'd play more into that for sure. The thing is, so it's a double-edged sword. If they do it in the Discovery timeline, they can reuse their own art design. They can use Pike. They can use everything they've already done. and they're not going to mess up other timelines. But I really don't want to see more in this timeline. They've already butchered it. You know, just like and who the hell likes Rian Johnson's film? But you know, the past, kill it if you have to. You know, never go back there again. Discovery did it. They moved on. It's better for it. Don't stay there, because Pike can push forward quite a few years and still be, you know.
Yeah, there is still a time limit there for Pike, though. Like, they really shoehorn themselves into a real distinct amount of time that show can be a thing.
But you can easily say, you know, there's no actual reason 1 year is 1 year. So you can have 3 seasons that take place in 1 year of real time.
Yeah.
You're seeing 10 episodes,
yeah, for sure.
and they can say that was over 10, 3 months. So you say, right, we've got 3 years of time we're going to play in. Every season is going to be half a year. 6 seasons.
Every season's an episode of TOS. Because it's all serialized storytelling.
Yeah. Actually, that's actually a good point. Well, no, that'd be the opposite. Because you're right, they're doing episodic. But if it's serialized, you can always have it be 24. Have it all take place in, like, a week. 10 1 hours in the COVID course.
I'm not sure that would work so well, but that'd be interesting.
I mean, that could be fun for a Section 31 show. Like, have the first episode be some Romulan spy come and bring cloaking tech to the Federation, and the whole show takes place in 1 week to solve it.
Have it like 24.
Well, I wouldn't say literally. Like, you've still got the warp travel. You still have to have distance between places, but it'd be a very like real time sort of thing.
Yeah. BJ Tehran, $2. Actor fine. Hate the Ash Tyler as a character. I don't hate Ash Tyler. I hate Vok. The Tyler Vok thing.
Yeah.
It's a good concept on paper. Fortunately. So, yeah. I do like the actor, though.
Yeah, it's definitely a on paper character. That's a good way of putting it.
Let's see here.
And Wenlock has a great thing. Oh yeah, no, say that.
I was just about to read that.
Yeah.
The question is, does it need to be a long-run series? Driving series past their natural conclusion point isn't a great thing. I could get behind. We have a 3-year plot, and it's all tied up. Yeah, I could too, but the problem is greed. If a show's doing well, people are always like, oh, we can make it go, no, one more season. Supernatural was that way. It was set up to be like 5 or 6 seasons. Originally, it had a perfect ending point, and then they kept going, and they went to season 14, 15. They just finally ended it, and it's whatever it is, what it is. But it feels weaker for those last half of this, the run, just because it's there to make money, and it kind of shows, But that's the mentality. They need to make their money. That's what they do. So. Well,
I mean, but it's like, Fast and Furious. They're not making those because they want to make money. They're making because they're fun and they're having fun making them. Transformers, I would argue, would be the opposite. They are just making money, so there's no creative reason to make more Transformers movies in the Michael Bay universe. I mean, no one made Transformers the Night one or Age of Extinction because it's a good story, good characters, good plot, good motivation, good scenes. Like, there's nothing good there. It's just we need another Transformers in 2 years, right every weekend, boom, dinosaurs. Whereas Bumblebee was actually... We have a story. I mean, I've still not seen it yet, but it's on my wish list. I might get it this Christmas. Who knows? So it depends though, because don't just say, "Hey, let's do Section 31." Let's make a story first.
Yeah.
Make it make sense. Don't just say we like Michelle Yeoh. She's a weak ass character. Let's do something with that. Although, my God, it'll probably feel like a third reboot in the sense of she'll come in and be really nice. It's like, oh. Another character reboot, really?
Yeah. The Suspect Fox puts in $2 Australian. I want a Voyager J spinoff. Yes, and the captain's name should be Captain Jonathan Kim.
That's good.
Great ancestor of Harry
Played
Kim.
by Garrett Wang. He finally got to be captain. And to be fair, that would be great.
That'd be funny.
Garrett
That'd be
Wang
good.
as Captain, whatever you said, Kim.
Jonathan Kim.
Kim, and he gets to be the captain of the J. And because he's such a big fan of his great-great-grandfather, the bridge looks like they just rebuild the Voyager bridge. That production team who leads that spin-off is the exact opposite to the Discovery team. He loves the old canon. He's like, oh no, I'm building the Voyager bridge again. Why? I fucking love that bridge. And was like, really? Yeah, we'll say it's holographic. It's fine. And the fans like, yeah, and no one complains. Like, not
everybody would complain about something.
But I mean, to be fair, I would be interested. Actually, I haven't even thought about that. But a Voyager J show. But this is where we talked about this loads of times. Don't, as the Trek points out, you don't need to make a 7-season show where you're just kind of inventing new yearly stories. That, I mean, another end of the universe plot, whatever. Why not do a 6-episode story? Well, I know a reason, but just do a 6-episode miniseries with a story with a thing. Tell a story, tell the story, finish it. Nice and control,
That's not how things work, man.
Well, it is for some things.
Oh, I agree. That's how it should be.
Well,
but unfortunately, the corporate mentality steps in, and that's not how things work. So,
but the problem with that sort of thing, though, is that obviously the most of the time the initial build-up cost is the biggest cost. If you've got to build all your sets and use them for 6 episodes, say the sets cost 40 million to make because they're really elaborate. So, say the sets, like all the pre-production is 40 million, and you've done over 6 episodes, it's like, oh, well, now you've got to make all that back at least. Whereas as soon as you do 8 episodes, that it becomes way more money efficient. That's why you do a bottle show, because then it's just filming on sets you've already built. There's no effort really, especially if you've got preset lighting. It's boom, cheap. Especially space operas. That's why Voyager J would be good though, because you can reuse all the same uniforms as they've made for the future. Bring in the Admiral Vance. That's why using your own. Well, that's part of why the Marvel films are interesting, because they can reuse a lot of their own stuff between films and between productions.
Yeah. Area 51, $2. Captain Kimberly Kim. Captain Kim Kim.
Yeah.
BJ Turan, $5.
Hey.
Hate what Section 31 is in Disco, Starfleet, SS, Gestapo instead of Secret Society, as in DS9 and Enterprise. Makes no sense. Wouldn't call them a secret society. That just sounds like, the Masons or something. They're a secret organization, like the SAS. Well, SAS, not SS, or the CIA, or and that works in the context of the Federation, I think.
If I said more, they're a need-to-know organization rather than a secret, how'd that flow in your?
That's just cliche.
Oh, okay.
It's a need to know, and you don't need to know.
Well, because I mean, it feels definitely more secret in DS9, because they feel like they erase their own records, Yeah. But Archer, I believe, heard of Section 31 in Enterprise. I can't quite remember.
Yes, he did.
Know them, but I think he heard of them.
Yes, and he gives Malcolm shit for not telling him what's going on.
So it's like, but obviously when you're seeing heroes of your show, they tend to be high-ranking officers, and therefore you're watching the best. Let's say The Mandalorian. Like, if you've got 6 of the best, of course everyone's going to die like a bitch. Because whereas like Lower Decks, you expect them to fail because they're not very best of the best. So that's why everyone seems to know about Section 31. But yes, it is daft the way they handled it, and they just misunderstood all of it. They really should just have invented a new code, like a new organization, and then have it reveal 3/4 of the way through a season. Oh, I'm actually part of Section 31. This is our cover organization.
Yeah.
Like, we're the covert ops, and that's the public branch, and then we're the Section 31. That would be much better. And then the audience knows, and Shoney tells Michael, and
Interesting. Well, going back to Michelle Yeoh, though, I mean, one thing that we should mention here that we've mentioned before, but the Guardian does say, you're not going back to Terra. Why do you think I would send you there? I'm sending you back to a time where the universes were more aligned. So right there, he kind of basically says, I'm sending you to where kind of the most crossovers happened, because there were, and I'm also sending you not back to Terra, so not back to the mirror universe, you're going back to ours. So even though you're not back in your own universe, your molecules aren't trying to fight against time and universe. So that opens up a nice window from Enterprise, where we get some In a Mirror Darkly, even though it was kind of TOS, and the timeline kind of got skewed with theirs, so it got. But anyway, from Enterprise up to DS9 is where the most crossings happen. So I just want to put that out there, that would be the space of time that she'd be in. And we talked earlier about her maybe being in the movie era or something, as a way to make it more interesting, make it something new. But I don't really want this team touching those other eras, because they've already messed up the one that they're in, the one they've been playing in. So I just want them to kind of have her show up in Strange New Worlds as a cameo once or twice, and then get a spin-off show, that's a limited run thing or something for Section 31. I think that'd work out fine,
And BJ Turan says, in Lower Decks, even Boyman knows about Section 31. Well, that's a good comment, because Mike Mann really respects the canon, so for him to about Section 31, certainly. But it is after...
But he's also a bookworm. He's the one that studies everything, and he would find those references that other people might not notice, right?
And remember, DS9 is multiple years after the Dominion War finished, because... Yeah. So you can maybe argue that, word got out because of, Bashir's massive interactions, etc., etc. But yeah, in terms of the era stuff, no, I'm not as... I don't feel as much of a need to put her going back into the same box. You pointed out in the review that, she's not going to go back to before the other Phillipa's deaths, because otherwise there's two Phillipa Georgiou. So that is it's not pre-discovery, unless it's really pre-discovery. They just have really a different name for the character, but then you're basically just playing a new person, and why bother? It's kind of removing the fun of, as you said, why build up Shazad and not use him? Why build up Georgiou and then call it something different, and then no one, But they are they're quite good this year, because they have such a breadth of time between what we know and what we now know, that even them saying hundreds of years ago the crossings became undoable, well, hundreds of years ago could be 3, 4, 5, 6, 700 years, and then we just get to Nemesis. So 100 years, I took it very much as you can still cross until like 2500s, which means it's playing time post Picard. They haven't limited themselves in the present day sort of stuff. So there's a long period where it's just obviously easier the further back you go, I'd assume.
Yeah. Well, Dan23 puts in the comment he put in earlier before the live started, which I addressed. He says, the Guardian of Forever said she will save others, a lot of them. No, the Guardian of Forever said that the Kelpian you helped will save others, a lot of them. Did nothing about her saving others.
Nope.
Said that she's got a bumpy road ahead of her, some heartbreak and some turmoil, but didn't say anything about her saving others, Dan. So go back and watch it again.
Exactly right, Stuart. Exactly right. But you wouldn't want to see a post Picard, because we've already devalued Picard, and that we now know the Federation sort of half falls.
Well, they're going to put her in Picard, I think. That might be another twist as well.
I mean, that could be fun. But
there's a different team, is it, though? I think it's kind of a different team. Well, they're in California.
Yeah, but Kurtzman's in California as well. I think Kurtzman took over Picard a lot in terms of... That's why you can feel the shittiness in Picard, whereas Lower Decks and Discovery 3 are then other people really show-running them, I mean, Picard's interesting, because they're going to get to reuse things.
Yeah, see, that would change it up from being Discovery.
And they wouldn't have to interfere their own canon. And since we haven't gotten to that, and actually, to be fair, though, because Picard himself, I mean, we have no idea what they're going to do with season 2. They don't know. They haven't filmed it yet. They're not really committed. Have you seen Discovery season 1? They changed it as they were going, so they don't know until they finish filming. But Picard is not running with the lore. He's not running with Starfleet. So therefore, having a Section 31 character dealing with Picard in Picard actually makes sense. It doesn't make sense for her to have her own show in Picard's era, which again speaks to your earlier point that why would you give her a show? And you've already, this show is already her backdoor pilot in a sense. Like, you don't need to have another pilot year appearance before you bring her into a full show. Like, she's either going to get it or she's not going to get a new show, But I could, you kind of sold me. Yeah, she's in Picard as, it's revealed she went back to, like, mid-TNG, took a couple of years to find herself and decide who she wants to be, and then decide to join Starfleet again and be, whatever. And then, by the time of Picard, she's a little bit older and she's Section 31. Wouldn't say ahead of, but because that's too much, She's like a liaison to the well, and you could even say maybe she's liaison to the Mirror Universe for Section 31. Because that would be fun, because then...
What, regular crossovers to do regular hit and runs on the Mirror Universe or something? Because why would you need a liaison unless you're constantly going over there or dealing with the...
Well, yeah, because at the end, in DS9, Cisco has a relatively good relationship with Smiley and such. They're not in an antagonist way. So I could see that. I mean, obviously that's not the. I mean, her role is Section 31 primary, but she's also like her post also includes because she's was an empress. So therefore, we have episodes where she goes into that mirror universe at that time because they can listen to her more. She's a good in between person, but also just as normal missions. And then maybe even you could have the first season of Section 31 be mirror universe starship breaks the barrier, comes into our universe. The other way around. And then she has to Section 31 solve that problem. How cool would that be?
Or Prime Lorca. Just have her work with Prime Lorca somehow.
Prime Lorca, frozen in carbonite, saves 400 years, comes back into the present. I mean, I'm not against that, to be fair. But what do you think, though? It's season 1, so it links directly in with the mirror universe, but it's now a different mirror universe, and, what do you think?
Ooh.
Very focused.
It's interesting. It would be interesting too for her to come aboard the Enterprise in Mirror Mirror and see the Terran Kirk in there in the brig. That'd be funny if they had called in Section 31 because you never see what happens really in the Prime Universe.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
They were in the brig pretty much the whole time, so she comes in and yeah. It'd be kind of funny to do that kind of a crossover.
Well, as in if you put her directly into TOS, then? Because I was meaning in the Picard era.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
why I was going.
Yeah, well, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I'm just playing with some ideas.
Yeah.
But Picard era, I think, could work.
So we've never had a mirror universe ship come into our universe before, like how that tech might meld.
It would be kind of cool, actually, and that would also tie the two shows together, and
And it makes sense why she would be the focus. Like, she doesn't want to be the head of the group. She just wants to be someone important.
Yeah.
And also, it's a nice threat because if a ship can now cross universes, that changes the ball game because that's never happened before. If one ship can do it, what if Mirror Borg, swap over, etc.
Are they like the Canadian Borg?
Yeah.
They're super friendly.
I mean, do you want to be assimilated here? I'd like to have you, but no.
Oh, you don't want. You don't want to be assimilated? Oh, do you want a beer instead? How about a Timmy's? I'll go make a Timmy's run. Go get you a coffee.
If you are assimilated, free Tim Hortons. Sign you up? Excellent. And your family? Excellent. Dotted line. Okay. Tubules time. It will hurt, but you'll love it. Because there's a plate right here. But that could be fun because I don't want to see, even though that's Section 31, I wouldn't want to see the grand universe destroying plot. Because you know what? We're going to get a sentient AI from the future or from another quadrant is attacking the Federation again. Because they're uncreated. It'll be a third time in a row. So just have it be a single ship from another universe. In our universe, she's chasing him down with a ship, with a crew. Shazad Latif's great-great-grandson. Bring him back. Boom,
It should be another Doomsday machine, a sentient machine that's like a threat.
But a simple threat. Yeah.
Yes.
That's good. I like that.
And the one that's not all damaged and fucked up. It's still got all its weaponry out, like bristling with weaponry.
And a pilot. And we're like, they could be piloted?
And it's a whale pilot wearing a big whale helmet that can communicate with the humans.
And then they got a slingshot back into Star Trek 4 to get George and Gracie again.
And George and Gracie, then you hear their monologue. Jesus Christ, we have to help you guys again. Listen, these guys took us from one time to another time. From what we hear from their updates of the future, things are fine. We've repopulated. All my kids had sex with my other kids, and it's all good. So these guys are good. They're good peeps. Like, okay, bye now. Oh, good God. No, but I think actually pulling in like another Doomsday machine would be great. It'd be a good Section 31 thing. Like maybe somebody got a hold of one and reactivated it or something. Like there's a lot of political intrigue finding out because they like that kind of thing in these shows lately, this overarching mystery. And that works perfectly for this show, but I would want more episodic feeling shows, I think, for the show. So I don't know how to go about it, and to have, oh man, was gonna say make her a temporal agent, but she can shoot to Picard, she can shoot to Discovery, she can shoot to Pike.
But that's not these team jobs.
No.
That's not what they've been like.
No.
But Doomsday Machine is tricky because that is just then another sentient AI destroying stuff again. And even if a good person takes it, then it just feels like the Red Angel suit, uber powerful thing. That would work better in lower decks, having it be a two-part where they fight a Doomsday Machine and it's just like, and they do a sidestep. That would work. But I agree. Doomsday Machine is a really good underused thing.
I can see her character showing up in lower decks too.
Yeah.
Put her in the TNG era and just have her show up on lower decks, like the animated version of her. Anyway, yeah, the character is interesting enough considering that we had Captain Georgiou, and then all the stuff that Emperor Georgiou has seen and going to the future, and like she's a very valuable asset to have. Because really, she's seen future tech. She knows the future. She knows about the mirror universe. She knows how to take over the mirror universe. She knows all this stuff about that. She knows she's a very interesting character when you really break it down. But now that she's reformed, she's a good guy. I mean, it works. It's a good idea for a show. If it's, as I always say this, if it's done properly. I feel like I say that too much.
Which season 3 was done properly. They had to go to the future. They did it properly,
Yeah.
But she's very much like a sponge character, which is she doesn't have much personality of her own. It's just snark. But he put her in scenes and moments and episodes where there's something to do. She can blend into the space left by what the story needs. You give her own show. You can't just be snark the show. But I think you're also right about the future knowledge. Assuming that if she comes, let's say, for example, either she came to Picard era or pre-Picard era, I would assume / hope that the temporal investigations guys would obviously notice her because she's not only differently temporal but differently universal. They would put like a mental block on her brain. They would give her some drugs so that she can't remember the future, like the specifics, because it's not okay to have someone who knows the future. Now, obviously, as we've said, that's only one alternate future because everything else proves time can be changed, even their own show, and so therefore,
plus
that's
it's also 930 years though. She didn't live through all the years in between unless she did her research as to what happened exactly. Am I frozen again? No, there we go. Having knowledge that's 1,000 years in the future isn't very helpful to somebody. Really, if you went back 1,000 years in time right now,
yes,
you couldn't go, I'm going to invest all my money in Microsoft and IBM, because it's not going to help you. It's too far ahead to make any difference.
Yes and no. The only difference being is that 1,000 years ago is a better example in that you couldn't change as much because information gets lost. But all you have to do in TNG would be to submit a report saying in the year 31, 32, Federation gets burned, and then because she learned about the burn, that was what she was asking about. So she knows all about the dates for that. She knows about the year. She knows about the dilithium crisis. She, it's like telling Earth that in 2090 we ran out of fossil fuels. Fact. We would then say, oh, okay, we've got to change our world now.
Yeah.
So knowing about dilithium would completely change how we approach dilithium because it's running out. And she would then know about Navarre. And if you told the Romulan Senate now, oh, you are going to be part with the, Romulan, once you start knowing anything, it's like if you went back in time and told your mum that your name is Sam or Stuart or Samuel, did they have the idea or did they take the idea from you to name you that? Well, at that point, both, neither.
Well, I'm named after one of my dad's friends, so I mean, it's just kind of weird. Like like, whose idea was it, right?
So once you say, well, this is going to happen, even if it's far away enough, the ripple of knowing, you then hope that, just by saying that, because think about it, if she says the burn happens, that gets a CNC. That CNC starts saying, right, now we have to now start planning around that. Those planning are now going to have, be making changes through the next 900 years, and when you get there, it'll be different, because how many hours of time do officers spend dealing with the problem in the present they could have been spending doing this or this? It changes everything, maybe not drastically, but enough to change the future. That's why, really, in reality, she's just undone the future. if she's actually in the past and is part of the past. Because if she was never in the past to be part of Section 31, then all the missions she went on is changing time. Like, that's the point. So that kind of nullifies Discovery Future as well. Actually, and I didn't even think about that, because that's what happened to, Michael Burnham's mum. She changed the past by coming from the future, changing the past, changing the future. So Michelle Yeoh, by going back, is going to stop Discovery Time from happening in alternate universe. That's why you shouldn't have people come from the future into the past. Alternate timelines. Which I don't even consider, but it's true.
Yeah. Well, way back Tech says, unless the Guardian wiped her memory of the future, which we kind of talked about as well. If the Guardian is sending her back, he might have the ability to do that. Wipe her memory of the future, like specific things, not just like all of it, because then she wouldn't know who the hell she was. Well, that might be interesting too. Her waking up with amnesia, kind of having to rediscover who she is.
But she's still got the personality differences.
Everybody thinks she's Captain Georgiou. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Georgiou from
so that might be
interesting,
but
we still have that knowledge. We still have that.
But the way back Tech, just answering his thing, it would make sense because he would have to deactivate her futuristic phaser that is on her arm, but she took off the rack and on her arm, plus the wristband. Like we talked about the technology already that she has. If she does have a communicator, which is a personal transporter as well, things like that. Like if he's sending her back in time, it would make sense to deactivate those and also, yes, erase some memory. That's actually pretty interesting of an idea. It would be cool if she woke up and just didn't know who the hell she was. She knew she was Georgiou, but that's it. That would actually be pretty interesting, her kind of discovering who she is. And I think that might work as a concept if it was done properly. It could be that's how it ties into the Strange New Worlds. One of the first episodes, they find her on a planet. And Pike's like, what? And she wakes up. She has no idea who he is necessarily. Just, we found you here. He knows that she went into the future. It'd be an interesting idea. To write an episode like that. So, I don't know. I think erasing her memory is a good idea, but definitely deactivating her future tech, if she had any when she went through, would be also a good idea for the Guardian to do.
Yeah, the thing is, the Guardian isn't the naive guy from TOS.
No.
He's got power. He can turn that stuff off. Not an issue. I mean, come on. He put her brain into a different body and yet kept an armband on her body with different clothing. So he can definitely...
Even though she never left, yeah.
So yeah, this guy can absolutely just turn off the replicable matter in her arm. That's not a hard thing. Although Hezraz said, also, people probably wouldn't believe her. Vulcans and Romans are arrogant, smug, and stubborn. They would probably not believe her about Navarre. Except they would scan her, detect that she's filled with chronotons, is from an alternate universe, and has biological matter from the future, radiometric dated. It's like, Archer was given a token to give to Degra because you can't fake time travel stuff.
Yeah.
So she is provably from both the mirror universe and has lived in the future. So yes, they would believe her, even though the Vulcan Science Academy has said there's no time travel.
Well, depending on what era you go to, yes.
You know what I mean? Easily provable. Easily provable. I mean, her clothing's from the future. Like, if she's in the same clothing, it was made in the future. End of story, And he also then says, there are different theories on time travel. One is that a person who changed the past was always fated to change it, never changed the timeline. But Discovery Season 2 disproves that because Michael Burnham's mum changes the timeline 200 or so times. Because if it was always fated, then the universe is very effed up. Because if it was always fated to have Endgame, it was always fated to have Control, it was always fated to have Year of Hell. Always, that's not how Star Trek timeline works. It never has. You don't go back and stay in the past and change things. It does,
Yeah.
It's never worked that way.
I still like your idea, though, of putting it like Star Trek 6 era and having it be Section 31 and have like a Captain Sulu, new actor for Captain Sulu.
I can go back into that. I can talk about that again if you want.
Yeah, and it even ties in with the events of Star Trek 6 with Praxis exploding. There was a bomb because of Discovery in the middle of Kronos. Could be that Section 31 or some cell within the Klingon government itself moved that to Praxis. for whatever reason. I mean, I love that Section 31 would want to destabilize the Klingon Empire by doing that, because that's what that movie's all about, you know? So that would work, and that would be very interesting, because everybody's been harping on about seeing a Captain Sulu show. That would work very well, actually.
Should have been made back then. He would have been really good at the time.
Yeah.
And in fact, that would actually tie in beautifully, because I think you could easily argue, Stuart, and back me up on this if you agree, that because we've proven now that when Section 31 deletes records, they are genuinely deleted. Like, they didn't know.
Yes.
So if Section 31 says, "Oh, we almost bombed Kronos, delete." So I think, you know what I mean? I think you could argue, okay, that information's actually hidden. So it'd be kind of fun then if I'll go back to that in a second, but if she does appear in Star Trek 6 era, and she's the one that tells them, you know, we put a bomb in Kronos, and I can move to Praxis, and it's right there. Like, that could be because she knows, like, there's a nice link there.
Well, Tyler would know too, and he'd still be around at the time of the.
But he wouldn't necessarily think of it.
Star Trek 6.
Like, she's come from a more fresh perspective. He's gone the slow round. But that's right. That's true. Unless he's dead, obviously. I mean, you know.
Well, yeah. I mean, if he's just head of Section 31, chances are he might be dead.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, at least 3 or 4 fake deads though, and then 1 real dead. But yeah, I mean, in terms of eras, it would, you know, we know that Star Wars respects their timeline, but the argument is always that they were as a bigger budget, and you know, the old 70s tech at least is higher budget looking than the old 60s TOS. But if you go to the Star Trek movies, maybe not so much TMP, but Wrath of Khan onwards, the tech holds up beautifully. Like, you don't need to visual retcon that era at all. It's perfectly valid. They have both touchscreen.
But they want to. They want to. And they will. Because it's this team. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, Gersha. Oh, no, the movies look shit too. Oh, and TNG looks awful. Voyager? No, it never worked. And they're like, what?
Well, in that case, let's just change everything.
Gersha, what the hell? You just hate Star Trek? Oh, yeah, I hate it. Anyway, but Star Trek 6 is great because there's all the political intrigue. You've got the end of the Cold War, but they never gave us a sense of how big it was. You know, I'd be fine with them sort of gently retcon that there was a lot of Cold War actions happening, which makes the Praxis event be more poignant if they are forced to reach the olive branch after 2 years of underground fighting, which was in TOS, but obviously it was kind of retcon back into TOS a little bit.
And that would work out so well with Vok Tyler being a Klingon and a good way to bridge the two. There's a lot of very creative story ideas there if they chose to go that route.
And you could probably argue that because of Tyler's genetic modification, he's only aged 3 years in 30 because his face isn't real.
Oh, that's interesting. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and
so I was going to say it'd be cool to have an older Tyler with Michelle Yeoh as she is now. Because she got plunked in that time. Yeah. But yeah, if he ages differently, he could still he'd be fine. It would be good.
And Section 31 tech as well, you know.
Yeah.
Keeps the people off guard. You know, your leader's like 27. No, he's 50. Really? Yeah.
Looks good for his age, man.
Yeah. He was a Klingon. What? Yeah.
Jessica Butler, though, long time no see. Good to see you. $5.
Welcome.
I love that idea, guys. Phillipa Georgiou wakes up with no memory and is found by Captain Pike. I mean, that could work as an idea. So, George Mangrum, $5. If you guys were in charge and had to make Section 31 or 5 to 10 new Trek shows like Disney and Star Wars, what shows would you make? Well, dear good God.
Well, we can alternate. So 5 each, Stuart.
Oh my God. Well, a TOS one that's a TOS one that's actually TOS that actually looks like TOS that would be one thing. I don't know what I would call it, but there you go. I don't know. You jump in with one. Maybe I'll think of something else.
Yeah, I would call that Star Trek.
I'm not good at thinking on the fly for things like that where I have to do 5 or so.
For TOS, you'd call it Star Trek Classic Adventures. STCA Classic Adventures. Kind of back to TOS. Obviously then Star Trek Sulu, or where would be Star Trek? It'd be Star Trek Excelsior. I'd call it Star Trek Excelsior, and that would be the deep space gaseous anomalies. He's dealing purely. It literally takes place in the year before Star Trek 6, where he's a bit pissed with his career choice, but luckily his friend Chekhov comes to see him. And this, obviously, you're not giving us any sort of boundaries here, But I do Star Trek Sulu just because the Excelsior is a good ship, a lot of potential there with
That opens up a question, actually. Would you bring in the Chekhov as part of Section 31, or even Tuvok?
Renegade style. They both fit.
Yeah, I mean, like, is that a character you would bring in because that would work in that?
Oh, you mean Star Trek 6
recruiting
era?
Chekhov?
Oh.
Yeah, you could recruit Chekhov early and see his
Oh
kind
no,
of like
other way around. Chekhov's already part of it, and he actually brings in
that'd be
Michelle
cool.
Yeoh.
That'd be cool. And he's been a part of it since TOS.
Uh-huh.
Because he was young and he got on the Enterprise.
Or as soon as he was out of Star Trek TOS, he was brought in like right after his 5-year mission. And then what the Gravitas would add to, guess who's coming to dinner? You know?
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
I killed Klingons 3 weeks ago on my shore leave. And then it makes Star Trek 5 even funnier because he genuinely doesn't know he's like, he's doing a bit shit with some things. Like, when he's off the clock, he's not a very good agent, but when he's on the clock. Okay, you're next pilot, Stuart.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm not good with ideas like that. I'm good at expanding on ideas. So you throw out ideas and I'll help you. Because I'm not good with that.
And these will be like 6 episode mini seasons. I would have an 8472 series where, and again, I'm just thinking of these off the top of my head, where a song from 8472's world has to come into our universe, obviously looks human, and pleads Federation to help them save their universe, but the universal dimension barrier has been broken down. So the first 3 episodes are, what is it, why is it? But the big reveal is that they're being goaded because a bad faction has taken over. They want to pay, something evil. That could be kind of fun. Voyager J, there you go, make that easy.
Yeah, the Voyager J would be a good one, absolutely.
That'd
be
fun. The Kelpian cooking show.
Cooking with Kelpians.
Cooking with Kelpians. Whisk, 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 whisk. And
Whipster, whip,
there you
whipster.
go. And all of his guests have to be so basically it's a duo, right? You've got Saru or Saru's dad, played by Doug Jones, and the guy from Beyond, the tiny guy.
Oh, God, Kiesner or whatever.
Kiesner, yeah. And so you've got the 4'1", 3 foot, and the 9 foot.
That's funny.
And they're all in the same shot. There's like a split screen, and there's just. And it's a cooking show. So there you go.
My God.
Obviously, Star Trek Titan, but it's just new worlds, new voyages in the future. And then there you go. That's all you get.
I would have a Star Trek. I would have a Star Trek anthology show. We talked about this. Where each episode is a different era. You got some CGI stuff. You got some live action stuff.
Well,
I think that'd be fun. Different eras.
You need CGI. Just use the circle thing. The Mandalorian thing. You build just the middle bit of the bridge, and the outer ring is just the.
But when I mean CGI, I mean like the movie The Final Fantasy, CGI movie. I want those kind of graphics. I love those kind of movies. So I would want, one episode's animated, one's live action, one's that, that kind of thing. Different eras, following people in the same families. Like you get the ensign in TOS, but in TNG, his descendants in Admiral or something, and all one kind of overarching story, which you don't really get a big picture of until like the end of the season.
That's what we
as
pitched.
It's all kind of tying together.
Be such a strong show, really would.
Yeah. BJ Turon, $5.
Thank you.
Just not thrilled enough about current Star Trek, except Lower Decks, to want more of it. This old Trek fan very excited instead about Star Wars. Yeah, but Star Wars had a bunch of swings and misses before they came out with what we just saw in The Mandalorian, which was a grand slam. So you have to go through some shit before you get the good stuff, unfortunately. And if Star Trek started throwing more things at the wall to see what would stick, it'll be interesting, because some of them might work.
I think you could easily argue that there hasn't been good Star Wars since Empire Strikes Back. Like, really good Star Wars. Because Return of the Jedi is good, but not great. It's parts of a good movie, parts of a not very good movie. The prequels are not as good as they should be. You know what I mean? Like, Mandalorian you would associate more with the quality of Empire. Like, it just works.
That's interesting, yeah.
But the prequels you wouldn't call brilliant. Like I said, we had to wade through a lot of that stuff. Yeah, prequels look better in retrospect now because the sequels.
The prequels are kind of like the Discovery of Star Wars. You know,
Let's change
it's still
everything.
it's close enough that people are like, okay, it's fine, but you know, yeah, that's interesting. That's a good way to look at it.
Because you could argue that like Empire was genuinely almost perfect, and Mandalorian is a very, very close, very, very good. But everything in between has been. I like Revenge of the Sith personally, but it, could be a lot better.
Yeah.
But just to briefly go back again, I think doing the show Mandalorian style, where you build captain's chair, front helm, and the banister, and then you put chairs maybe if you need them, and then you can have multiple bridges.
Ooh,
cheaply, a full 360 set. Everything's out of focus, but I mean that would work amazing. And you could save millions by spending tens of millions on the initial thing. And then imagine that you could have 4 or 5 bridges. Because think about it, the way you look at Picard and Worf, looking up at the ceiling, all it is all you need is the arch. Everything else is yeah, brilliant.
150 people here and 98 likes. We need 2 more likes to get to 100. Guys, let's try to get to at least 120. If you haven't hit like, hit that like button.
Please do.
Pitch in some ideas that you want us to talk about. But yeah, Snoopy McQueen, $5.
Thank you.
Tyler is Klingon. They live 200 years. He would look the same by the time of Star Trek 6.
Except he's not Klingon anymore because he can pull every sort of scan. So he's not Klingon anymore. He's human with a bit of Klingon in him, and that's the problem. He's lost all of his ability to do everything. Like, I'm pretty sure their 2 hearts are part of why they live longer. So,
I think, yeah. There were multiple redundancies, yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it all works together. So no, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
He's absolutely got a human lifespan. I was just more meaning just the conceit of it. Like, it broke how his skin isn't really his skin. Like, it's a unique graft, so it's like a specially grown skin. Therefore, it might have different properties. Like, I'm sure inside he's going to age the same, but outside you could argue, like, why would his skin follicles be perfect?
His immune system and stuff might be stronger and more resilient, so he could live longer than a human. Not as long as a Klingon, let's say, but
sure. Yeah, I just meant like his skin and stuff.
Yeah, Mark Lawrence, $5. I just ignore all the CBS series and bring to live action all the non-Disco and non-JJ seasons from STO. Interesting. STO did a lot of stuff right. So. And
to be honest, bring in Harry Kim, Captain Kim. Star Trek Captain Kim. Make it a 10-episode thing. Epic. He's not a white guy. First, there you go. Headline, first Asian American actor. I don't care personally. I just like Garrett Wang, but that would be technically a first for Star Trek. And he absolutely is capable of that. And then he can bring in everyone else from all of the shows. Perfect timeline. And he's, an interestingly flawed character. Yeah, that's actually a really simple, strong idea. And boy, can you imagine the fan base? Like, because obviously Patrick was like, but when he, imagine the same scene, right? Vegas, Garrett Wang walks out and was like, oh, hey, Garrett, we've all met you 5 or 6 times. And he says, guys, I'm back. And I was like, Captain Kim! Woo! Like, that would get a massive applause. We we get it, It's like our shot first in a small way. So that would get a lot of fun praise.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
MC puts in $10, so thank you.
Thank you.
When Georgiou mentions that Michael has the material needed for the captain's chair, do you foresee a possible refitting of Book's ship under Michael and his command inside of Discovery moving forward? When Georgiou mentions that Michael has the material needed for the captain's chair. Oh. Do you foresee a possible refitting of Book's ship under Michael? No. That would be silly. She means that she's Starfleet material. She could be a Starfleet captain if she wasn't such a dipshit.
Is there a way of allowing that? I mean, they don't know where they may or may not go in multiple seasons. They obviously have a 2-season arc, but say this actually does go 7 years somehow. They're implying that we might give Michael a captaincy in season 6 of a future ship. Like, they're trying to tell the audience, we may run out of options and we'll do something creative by making her a captain by the end of it. And that's okay. Like, different era, different rules,
It also ties in with the first episode of Discovery where Captain Georgiou is saying, Michael, I think you're ready for your own ship. It's getting validation from 2 of her mentors which we're both the same people, even though in the same scene she says you're unique, you're not like anybody else. So yeah, that's kind of what it is, I think. Brian Adams puts in £5.
Thanks.
I want to see a Department of Temporal Investigation series which starts with beta canon book adaptations. A lot of the beta stuff and novel stuff is really good. It's just like the expanded universe from Star Wars, some really great stuff in the books. And I think that's one thing that Star Trek really would benefit from, is a show like Clone Wars. That kind of animation and that kind of in-depth storytelling that later down the road can be crossed over into live action, I think would be great. Lower Decks is sort of that, because we've talked about there's going to be at least one episode or a scene with them live action. You know there is, because they all look like their characters. So I mean, I really think that to flesh out Star Trek in the same kind of way as Star Wars, I really love to see an animated show like Clone Wars with that much attention.
Because we almost got there. I mean, Lower Decks is our closest thing, and Prodigy may be something similar. It's a kid show, but I mean, you know, kid show, if it only applies for kids.
Clone Wars is a kid show too, though, they say.
Yeah, I mean, Star Wars New Hope is for kids, even though Darth Vader's choking people graphically. It's not a kids movie. It's as much a kids movie as Aladdin is a kids movie with, you know, forced marriage and lots of, you know,
and theft.
Yeah, they're not X-rated, they're not graphic per se, but they're good for all ages. You know, you want that all ages, just with a slightly different slant. Whereas, you know, Battlestar Galactica isn't a kids show clearly. You know, there are lines in that sound. Now, I would still consider a TOS, you know, a kids show, because how many kids were inspired by it? Loads. It's not a kids show, but it works to inspire them, etc. So I'm sorry, Prodigy is better than them. We think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, a series like that, I mean, and that's the thing, animated, even with the Lower Deck style, obviously more photo will be nice. Yeah, have one in each era. You know, boom, there you go. Anthology show be animated. Easy.
Yeah. Yep. Jeff Jacobs, 415. Paying for 50 and 100 and the dislikes. 150 next. Hashtag make Jeff pay. Hit that like button, guys. Simple. Just gonna leave it at that. Hit the like button if you haven't. BJ Tehran, $2. Either of you, I have bought the new Disco art book. I have not bought that yet. That's one I wouldn't mind getting, though. There's a lot of stuff in there that we've seen that we want to talk about probably on Trekyards. Yeah. But I have not got it yet, no. So.
Yeah, there's a few books yet to get. But yeah.
Yeah, the motion picture one's got a lot of cool stuff. We should probably look at that and talk about some of that stuff. But yeah, anyway. All right. Car Shep says Georgiou gone back in time, and it will turn out Mir Georgiou is actually our prime Georgiou that we know. That way she can keep up the fight with the Klingon. That's wow. That'd be really cool. Her going back in time and replacing the original Georgiou, because the original Georgiou was actually this Georgiou. So that's why she got attached to Michael, but in a different way, because Michael needed that because it's predestination paradox. Damn, that's mind twisting.
And then she wasn't eaten. She actually got out some other. I mean, the problem
we never got proof that she got eaten. Really, honestly, like, let's be fair.
The only problem with that, though, is that does make it predestination, which ruins a lot of the time travel stuff in Star Trek. Because then if that happened, then she was always going to go back in time and replace Georgiou, which means Michael Burnham's mum was always going to save the timeline, which means she was creating hundreds of alternate universes with no risk. I mean, season 2 had no risk. You know, it completely devalues that. And then is the burn always going to happen, or is it not? Was the kid of Paris always going to look like Morale? Paris going to look different because it's difficult. You know, you can't really do that in Star Trek. It's not really how that works. That may be alternate or a few hours ago. That's fun though. But you'd have to make it clear it's an alternate universe story, which in itself could be fun, you know.
And Car Ships also says when Georgiou said our prime was the mirror. Well, no, just from her perspective, it's her prime because she lived there her whole life. Well, so they were the mirror.
They're a mirror image, so once you turn, it's still a mirror. Like it's just a good simple metaphor.
Yep. Phillipa Swiftback, $2. I'm here. What haven't we talked about yet? We've talked about absolutely everything, Phillipa.
Yeah. So we'll see you next time on. But I think Star Trek 6 is the best era because none of the art design is aged. The costumes have that red vibe, which looks more mirror-y and more Section 31-y.
And it leads into that Lost era.
Yep.
You know? So
They can do a lot with.
It's uncharted territory, really.
And we never got the sense that TNG, the holograms, were new. So they could just be not, people didn't use them very much. So you clearly have them in TMP, whatever. They've already used them in Discovery, so you kind of whatevering that. You get to have all the original Star Trek TOS guys come back, as in new actors playing them. As you said, you can even have Pike. You know, someone picks them up from Talos 4. You could.
Mm-hmm.
And if you argued that potentially we did, because Vina was being broadcast to Pike and she looked like Vina, so you could probably argue that that Pike physically was going with them. He was in a machine. No, you could even have you could just have it. They pick up Pike and he's still just a mental image. Like the Telosians are that good at doing their trickery. Like they think they have Pike, they don't really have Pike. He's just an image. That'd be fun. Like it'd be a forced moment, but it'd be fun. And you can imagine, Anson Mount in full red, still looking like he does because he's chosen to stay looking young. There you go. You could even actually have a great set of sequences whereby, and this would be a little bit contrived, but you could always have it be that Georgiou, she was the one that accidentally let slip the firewall cloak tech because she knew how to do that in her universe, and dealing with Klingons she thought were going to help her in Section 31. She delivers some secret knowledge, and they end up building the bird of prey for Star Trek 6, and she gets reprimanded because it's kind of like her fault, and that's a good lesson to Section 31. Don't give away your secrets, which would be why, and that's why it never came back, because they didn't understand how to do it. They were just given some tech by,
Dyke Shaman says for multiple times now, discuss book possible double cross. Don't want to. Don't care.
I mean,
I just want book. Why can't a character just be likable and not be a double crosser? Like, same with Admiral Vance. Why does it have to be, I can't wait for that reveal where he's a bad guy? It's like, I know he's an admiral, and all admirals, 90% of admirals in Star Trek are dicks, it turns out. But still, he could be the exception to the rule.
Hey,
I don't know.
Gavin, enjoy.
I've never thought about a double cross for books, so don't know what to say about that.
It wouldn't be a satisfying payoff because it's not been set up at all. Like, you have to have, it'd be heart-wrenching, and I just feel like Tyler Vock again. Like, she's happy with him. She has more chemistry with him than anyone else in the entire cast in those little moments. It's remarkable, actually. And it's a 2-season arc. Season 1 for Book is, this is who he is, and he realizes that once he actually got introduced to the Federation, his ideals of being positive and helping the universe, that is actually what the Federation really wants. He just never really got introduced to them. Now being brought face to face with them, he ends up being like Neelix. He's the guide to the future Discovery crew needs. Maybe he's got a uniform, whatever. That's great. Love it.
Which uniform would he get? The future uniform? That'd be funny.
Yeah. He's the only one on the crew to wear it. Kind of funny. But absolutely. Book is an emotional heart for the show. He's allowing Burnham to be not as broken because she's not as fun to watch broken. Especially when you start broken and you never get more fixed.
Yeah.
Like, no, she's the best she's ever been. Let her keep being good. Because the Star Trek is about positive people being positive, with exceptions of darkness. It's not about being dark. It's not about being sad. It's not about being dramatic. It's about having... Because guess what? Every starship has a creme de la creme of people. And those people all want to do the best for themselves. They've gone through years, decades of training experience. They're not here to piss off people off. They're not here to fuck around. They're not here to be annoying. They're here to do their job really well, be good people, and help everybody. So you're not going to find people that are bad people in Starfleet. As in...
Yeah.
The exceptions are those that are the ones that are exceptions. And even people like in Star Trek 6, the Odo guy, who's not Odo, Renee playing the guy, like, he has a real reason. He's not doing it to be bad. He's doing it for a legitimate reason. It's just one that most people wouldn't agree with, you know. Same with like how Chain of Command guy Jellicoe, like he's a dick for a very distinct reason.
Yeah.
Like he's not, you know, he's doing it for the best sort of way. And even with Prometheus guy or Pegasus guy, like he's breaking all the treaties, but he's got a real reason. Might not be a necessarily good reason, but it's understandable, you know.
Yeah.
Sorry. There you go.
That's okay. Car Shep though throws in $20 Canadian,
Ooh,
so thank you so much.
Amazing.
Merry Christmas, guys. Thanks for the many hours of good times. I think Mira Giorgio will be our prime. It doesn't need to make sense. It just sounds good. That is Disco Logic from Carson, Hamilton, Ontario. Oh, you're Hamilton. Hey, I'm in London, so good to see ya. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
You're not too wrong, so I'm not going to disagree with your thought there.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Jeff Jacobs, $2. My 5 Enterprise C Disco. What? My 5 Enterprise C DS9 Cisco. Oh, these are shows. Okay, Enterprise C show. A DS9 is greater than Cisco show, or just a Cisco show, which we can't really do. All of DS9 was a Cisco show. WR. I don't know what that is. Titan, TOS.
Will Riker, probably.
Okay. Will Riker, Titan. TOS Kant continues. No. If he means continue the 5-year mission with the crew, like finish that off, no, that won't work. No, that's done. A new TOS show with a different Constitution class. Maybe that's what he means. I don't know.
But it'd have to be radically. That'd have to be either a dark show or a war show. Like you couldn't have just Exploration of the Week. I wouldn't want to see another TOS show. They did it perfectly for TOS. You know, it'd have to be like a woman captain who is working with Section 31 and does missions in Tholian space or something. You know, why would you do TOS?
I wouldn't want that.
But like Strange Worlds has to be distinctly different to TOS. Otherwise, what's the point? What's the point? There's no point. You know, don't do TOS again. What's the point?
But they're going to be. Well, because people miss it. People like TOS for that. And
that's why they made TNG.
Voyager.
Like they're not the same show. They're just the same vibe, but everything's different about them. So that's why. That's what I'm saying. Like that's why you can have Excelsior as being you can have Excelsior just being TOS again because the ship's different, the crew's different, the part of the galaxy is different. But doing another Connie in the same time, it's the same show. So it would have to be a radically different mission. For it to even be worth the time.
Oh, he meant DS9 after Cisco. That'd be interesting. Yeah.
Although, based on that, I wouldn't mind seeing a Jake Sisko-led like news version show. Can you imagine like Jake Sisko going around doing news stories on planets? You know, like that'd be interesting. Like a very sort of behind-the-scenes style, like 15-minute web series style thing, like but with a real budget, but just like news articles. You know, and today we're on Andor. We're talking to Empress da-da-da. And then you get really.
We need to.
That could be fun.
Yeah, we need to get Sirach Lofton on the show. We've been kind of talking about doing that. But...
Guys, we did not realize. I don't think going 2020, how much of our weeks would genuinely be taken up by all the new stuff. The answer was basically all of it. We've not really done much other stuff, for better or for worse. As long as you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah. And if you're new here, we got a lot of great stuff that we do, and we're not reviewing new Star Trek. So, anyway, Fleet Pass with back $2. Do we want the disco version Lost Era though? That's what I said. I don't. I don't want disco team led Lost Era. But that's what Samuel was saying. That the technology holds up, so they can't use the argument of the TOS wasn't working. We got to rechange it all. Like, So. I want to see the Lost Era at some point, but I would like a different team behind it, honestly. So, yeah, I see your point, though. I see your point. And James McGill puts in $5. An ex-Klingon or ex-Terran, both once in leadership roles, now in Section 31, as Mr. Burns from The Simpsons would say, excellent, with an evil laugh. Well, yeah, that's basically what Section 31 is right now. The ex-Klingon is the leader of Section 31, and if she shows up, they'd make an interesting team, those two, I think. But anyway, yeah. Hazard, they could also make an episode or two of some Star Trek from the viewpoint of the other side, like the Klingons or Romulans. That'd be interesting. A lot of people have said a Romulan show, which I don't know if I'd be interested in watching, really. Like, I do like the Federation aspect of things. But yeah, like a series like we talked about with that anthology series would be interesting to do the same story, but like from different perspectives. So you see the first two episodes, the Federation side of things. Then you go like episode 3 and 4, the Klingon version of the exact same story, and then Romulan for the next two, or something like that. I think would be super interesting. And then at the end, you get kind of a documentary style episode or two talking about what actually happened, and how it impacted different parts of the galaxy or something. That'd be very interesting, actually, and an interesting idea for a show.
Basically, it's not very hard to make good shows, and that's a sad thing.
Yeah, it could be called Star Trek Perspective, or Star Trek Perspectives.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
But I would definitely love to see Mike McMahon being given a live action show, because he would know, because he's a really smart guy. Like, smart people know what can and can't.
But could he write seriously though? Because he's one of those jokesters, you know.
But that's what I was gonna say, because he's a smart guy, so he understands that you can't just make a live action cartoon and it work. So you'd have to modify how he writes. But he's good at those meta jokes, etc. And he's definitely done scenes on, because remember, it wasn't as funny a show as we thought, and especially, that movie episode wasn't funny. Like, it wasn't a funny episode, but it had clever in-universe jokes in the sense of a reference of an understanding of a logic, Like, them being Pac-Leds didn't make us laugh, it made us go, oh, that's really cool, and it was clever, So I think he could write a live action. It would also be tonally more. Thing is, like TOS, right? TOS has those weird comedy things. I mean, the Landra episode, guys in cloaks with sticks that are just sticks.
Hollow tubes. Yeah.
So, I mean, I would consider that a very Lower Deck style episode in terms of it's not like hard sci-fi. It's a bit silly, They go to a library of a planet with a supernova, and they make Spock go back in time and shag a cave lady. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's daft, but it's good sci-fi, clever, silly. Like, TNG was actually more serious than TOS in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Would you agree? I mean, I had to through that.
I wouldn't agree. It's just that Star Trek was one of the first ones to do those kind of ideas. So, they look silly in comparison, but they're just getting those sci-fi ideas out there, kind of thing. Fleet Pass Swiftback, $2. Long short of it, did you like Georgiou this season? No. I liked her in maybe the last episode, but they didn't give her enough to work with. Like, the character didn't have anything to use to her benefit, unfortunately. So,
well, she's a very straight line character when you've now seen her entire arc. She comes into the future, she bitches at people, she helps them fight in a bar, she gets talked to by a guy, then she gets pulled to help the rescue mission, then she's scanned because she's sick, then she Guardian Forevers. That's it. That's all she does. Like, she does no... You know what I mean? That literally was everything she did this season. And most of those scenes involved her being snide at people, which is not that fun to watch. And she's a very one-dimensional character. But I do think when they gave her good stuff, she was good. And everyone got better stuff this year. Like, all of her scenes with Colbert are better because he fights back in a fun way. Like, they're sparring like Spock and McCoy. When she's on the planet with Burnham, we thought she might have been given the anti-mirror drug because she was acting too nice. She was better, but she's not very Georgiou in, like, as in when she's walking. Like, she's okay to watch, but it's a very one-note character. She's actually more interesting in the Mirror Universe because she's now.
Well, she killed Leland. That's an important thing she did.
Well, that was last season, but yes.
Yeah.
It's true, but she did a lot more last season, sort of. But the fact that she's more interesting to watch in the universe because she was actually nice. She got to act a broad range of emotions inside a universe where everyone was very mad. Much better in those episodes, but it shows how she was not given much to do. Yeah.
Well, let's see. James McGill
Thanks,
says
James.
maybe Guardian of Forever sent Georgiou. Oh, he puts in $5. Sorry. Maybe Guardian of Forever sent Georgiou back to Discovery. Only everything is TOS style but updated. Sarcastic Vulcan sign. Hey, I would be on board with that. I still like my idea of a Q showing up and just in the background of a conversation and just snapping his fingers after looking around.
Although the irony is, right, fair to say that season 2 of Discovery probably takes place over the course of a couple of weeks, maybe a month or two. Like, it's a very quick season. And season 1, they lost, was it 70% of the fleet, 60% of all the Federation fleet?
60%, I think, something like that, yeah.
Which is a lot. So I think, and I really have faith in them, that Strange
No, you don't.
That Strange New Worlds will make a massive effort. Like, they're obviously going to wear only the new uniforms, the classic uniforms modernized. That will instantly give it a TOS feel. They'll hopefully tweak the bridge a little bit to be less shiny, whatever. They'll build sets a little more appropriate, maybe just a bit bigger. I think what we're going to do, I think they understand the fans now that we know Picard and Lodex are better for that anyway. I think they're going to say, okay, we're jumping 3 years in the future, and wow, look at all the new design changes in the last 3 years. And now everything does look more like TOS stylistically because now a time jump has happened.
They're not going to do that, though. They built the bridge for the Enterprise already. They're going to want to use that one.
I don't think it's still standing. Because they wouldn't. That bridge would be a lot of room in a soundstage they need space for over a year. I bet you it's been taken down a long time ago because that is thousands of dollars they're using.
Not if they had the plan to make the Strange New Worlds and actually do a show with it. It's almost like that idea was thrown out there, and just to see, and everybody latched onto it.
Well,
everybody demanded Pike. Exactly. Yeah. But it wouldn't make sense to build that bridge and then destroy it. Like, that just doesn't make any sense.
That's not what I said. It's not what I said. No. It was used enough in 2 episodes to justify the money spent. Just like in Temporal Darkly, they built all the sets for 2 episodes. It was used enough, that's fine, it makes sense. But it's standing on a soundstage. They only have so many soundstages in Toronto. You can't have a standing set if you're not going to use it. That's not what they do.
Let's put it in storage.
That's what I said, broke it down. Not destroy it, broke it down. But if you've broken it down, then they can rebuild it and change it. Because if it's now in pieces, once you rebuild it, you can build it slightly differently, you know? That's all I meant. Like, they've obviously taken it down, because they're not going to keep it stood for 18 months. And so once they rebuild it, they could tweak it slightly, because you tend to do that, color palette, repaint it. Well, we'll need a repainting anyway. It's been in storage for a year and a half, or more at this point. Actually, yeah, more at this point. Because they're not filming it, are they? So, yeah, I think that, because if they did that, they will get so much fan credit, but also they've earned it because time has moved on. And then Georgiou could be in this timeline and it film like TOS. And we don't mean literally TOS, we just mean build the corridor from TOS and add shit to the walls. Like, just so as you walk through it, you're like, oh, that's TOS, modernized, done. Like, just build it again, like build the transporter room exactly as it was and then change the colors and change the, make the panel really detailed and give holograms, Just start with the same, even like 20% size increase if you need to. If you need to, fine, sure. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think they will. I think they've learned their lesson at a certain point.
But
I know.
They've doubled down on like so much stuff, and we've got the Enterprise with the stupid angled struts, which looks great. Don't get me wrong, I love the design of the Disco Enterprise, except it's too squashed, but whatever. But it's not how it should look, and they've got that design. People love it, so they think that they did something right, and they're not going to change it, and that's sad. But whatever, people are going to disagree with me and say it's fine, it's perfect Enterprise. But anyway,
it looks less advanced than the TOS Connie, which was intentional by John Eves. So
yeah, the list of Jericho. How do they shrink the Enterprise though? Yeah, because it's fucking huge. Oh, see, there's too many problems, unfortunately. Happiest Gnome, the new Enterprise bridge has the homage of the old controls, jelly beans as a thin strip of wallpaper. I thought it was nicely done. Well, that's not the the jelly beans on the wall. That's the displays, supposed to be the displays. They do have some jelly bean like things at the side of the consoles.
Well,
Can we stop calling them jelly beans, because they're not.
But James Cooley sent him hundreds of his molds, so they're actually from the Phase 2 set. Well, from his company, it's from his group. But as we said before, that set, only 3 changes, and it's brilliant. Only 3. Remove the outer corridor that doesn't make any sense, doesn't fit in the ship, doesn't make any sense at all. Remove that corridor, boom.
It fits in that ship because it's huge.
It doesn't fit in the Enterprise. Well said, Stuart. Well said. So take that away. Make the floor not a shiny black that looks bad. Really doesn't look good. And remove all of the blinking lighting at eye level and line lighting, lower the amount of blinkies needed. And that's it. That literally is it. The design part is good. And ideally, if you could shrink it by about 24%. But it'll feel smaller with the lack of the other ring. That's it. It's a great design apart from that. Really. That's not a lot, you know? I remember Kurtzman was the one that told them to add the corridor.
What a shock.
Yeah. And you wonder, you know what I mean? Let's add something that makes no sense, and there you go, end of sentence. What a dickhead.
And Dyke Shaman keeps saying, CBS, please kill off Burnham.
Better this year.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. They're not going to do that, though, because, you know.
Yeah.
BJ Turon, $5. Mandalorian restored trust in Star Wars. Strange New Worlds needs to do the same. Would help if it looked and feels like TOS. Can Kurtzman do that? It would help, and the answer to that question is absolutely fucking not. Kurtzman cannot do it. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Kurtzman is a cancer on pretty much everything he touches.
Which is,
and
his track record is his entire IMDb. It's not.
I do not like the man.
He lies. He says wrong things.
I don't trust him. Yeah, I don't trust him. I don't like him, and I wouldn't miss him if he was gone. Let's put it that way.
You know, it's like when you've got a track record of failure and track record of deceit. At what point are you meant to trust the guy? You know, you prove yourself to be bad at your job. You know, and I remember, as soon as he's not involved in a project very much, Lower Decks, wow, really good show. As soon as he's not involved, amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, so have we come to any kind of consensus?
Yeah.
Well, I think a Section 31 show would work. Here's my catchphrase if they do it right. But yeah. BJ Turon says, so Star Trek is doomed till post Kurtzman? No. Let's look at Lower Decks. His name is attached as an executive producer to every episode of Lower Decks, but you can tell he hasn't had any fucking influence in that. Just like Kathleen Kennedy's name is all over The Mandalorian. Doesn't mean she had any influence in it.
Nope.
She was there signing checks maybe in the background, but that's basically it. No creative control.
You can tell when the people that are bad are not involved.
You can be a figurehead, and that's fine.
Well,
just don't touch anything.
Eugene Roddenberry, you know, he was promoted as being really involved in Discovery Season 1, and no, he wasn't at all.
But he's still an executive producer every episode, so
it doesn't mean a damn thing. You know, and I mean, Discovery Season 3 is a genuinely good season of Star Trek so far. I'm not going to mince those words. That's impressive for the Discovery team.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's better than other seasons of Star Trek so far. And it's turned weak characters into okay characters and some bad characters into okay characters, which is impressive for them. It could have been better, and it may fall down the last 3, but the other 2 years, we were stabbing ourselves, you know, that Japanese, self-sacrifice murder thing.
Carey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This season was they may screw up at the final hurdle, but they're running this marathon successfully. And hey, if they stick the landing, it's damn, that was pretty good. Good for them.
Yeah, we yet to see whether that's going to happen.
But even if they did, I think it'd be hard unless they really butchered, like, unless they made Starfleet the bad guys at the very last minute. Like, you know, Vance is Section 31. Vance is not Age. Vance caused the burn, and they took over Federation. He's actually the anti-Federation, and there's a real Federation across the border in the Gamma Quadrant. He's been bombing them. That's why they have no ships, and everyone here is actually, you know, you could really butcher it, but there's no setup for that at all, and you need setup and payoff. And the show hasn't been corrupted by rewrite, so you know there's actually had built-in setups. So it does.
I can just see the last episode. They're panning down this long Discovery corridor. And of course, they turn around and turn the corner, and you see that one section where they always have the conversations in front of now the window, and there you see Admiral Vance and Book, and they're like, "We've got them all tricked." They've been working together the whole time.
It was a long play, wasn't it, my brother? Oh, yes, my brother.
And then you see it like shift, and it's in species 8472. It's an Undine.
No, not just that. One shifts, the other one's a changeling.
Ooh, yeah. And then somebody comes around the corner and they change back. Like, it's all good. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, that'd be great. It wouldn't be.
No, it wouldn't.
But that was a very vivid image there, Stuart. I'll give you full credit. That was a great image. Well done.
Thank you. But that's what they could do to ruin the season. Yeah. So anyway, and two very good characters.
But guys, we are only $50 away from a okay number. So I know it's a lot, but if we can get there, we've got a few more minutes to go, surely. But you know what? 150 appeal, which is actually a really good number for 3 days till Christmas. Really proud of our numbers. Love it, love it. Mm-hmm. Let's have, if we can get some super chats of yay or nay as well. I want an honest, now this is without any knowledge about the show, but pure gut reaction in the soul. Are you excited about this show? Now, these are two different questions. So the first question, are you excited about this new show? Yay, nay, meh. First question, are you excited? So I'm saying a positive statement. Are you excited for this show? Yes, no, meh. Put in the comments, and like I said, if we can get $50 more, we'll be in a good place. Help for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Woo.
And don't forget that tomorrow is still our prediction video.
Yes.
And that'll be probably it for a few days anyway. Like we said, I might do a first reaction at some point on the weekend for the upcoming Discovery, which is on Christmas Eve. And then, of course, I think our review will be the 28th. So instead of the Friday, it'll be on the Monday. Because we don't have, our edited review might be earlier, actually.
I think we're going to try, yeah.
But the live review will be Monday, because it's not Mandalorian Mondays anymore. So, Captain Kurt, great name. $20 Canadian. Merry Christmas, guys. Thanks for all the great content and keep up the good work. Well, thank you very much. Merry Christmas to you as well. Yep. Hope you have a safe holiday season.
And we know that, you guys don't want to stop making content. It's like I have other YouTubers. I would notice if they didn't release content over, it's like I want to see stuff still. So yeah, it's always this bubble of creating content, etc.
So we got a nay, we got a meh, we got a Strange New Worlds or Section 31. Section 31 has res.
Yeah.
We got a yay, yes, meh, maybe, yes. It's new track, meh, 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 yes. As long as the writing is better than Disco, yes. As long as the writing, it's twice, same comment, but three times he says that. Okay. Yes, yes, meh. I'm interested in the show, but I need to know more about it to be excited. Well, it's kind of a meh, isn't it? It's, they have been announcing or talking about a Section 31 show for quite some time. So, and then it kind of just disappeared into the ether. Ooh. But they've got it set up now that it's definitely possible for her to come back. Because it was a good send off. It was very much anything can happen from here send off. So.
And I just point out, BJ Turin said basically they love Michelle Yeoh, and I do like her in other things. I did like. I've seen her really just in. I've known of her because of Discovery. Like I knew she was a person, but I saw her in Last Christmas, the recent Christmas movie, or last year's one, and then Crazy Rich Asians, and she was great in both. Very different in both.
Sorry, I got to jump in. Zachary Woodhall says, Christian wants to play games, and he says you're hogging the bandwidth or the Wi-Fi. Yes, I am. So he can wait, because this is how I make my living. So he can play games at another time. It's obviously one of my son's friends.
This is quite meta. I like
Wow.
that. You're being told off, Stuart, by the internet.
Wow.
Or maybe they are playing games now because the internet went fooey. Stuart, you're being told off. How
Am
do you
I-
feel?
What? How I feel?
Yeah, you're being told off by the internet.
Like,
But it's true though. All of Christian's friends could come and spam our channel by saying, "Hey, where's Christian? Hey, where's Christian?" That's pretty funny. Fine.
Fahad says. Oh, sorry. Fahad says "fuck no" to the series, so just worth pointing that out.
And we'll say, well, $13 more, guys. That's it. We'll lower that round number with the 20 to help a lot. So 13, Christmas Miracle, etc. But yeah, Michelle was good in the other things. Didn't stand out particularly as anyone special. Like the thing is, there's loads of actors, and she was fine in both. Like in Last Christmas, she was a supporting role, but Emilia Clarke was way better in that film. You know, like that's the thing. Actors can often just sell their part and do nothing more than sell their part. You know, which is a sign that they can inhabit a character. But it's like that part could be played by lots of other people. You know, some characters. Yeah. It's like William Shatner. No one's ever going to be as good a Kirk as Shatner was. You know, you can't just swap out. And Chris Pine wasn't as good, and he wasn't trying to be Shatner. He was just another guy called Captain Kirk. Very, very different. Like you'll never have. Whereas, other characters maybe you can swap them out and not be as worried. And it's a joke, so she was good in Crouching Tiger. Everyone says that, but there's not normally a second thing you can say she was really good in. Like, you always hear that.
Crazy Rich Asians.
She was good in that.
I hated her in that.
Well, yeah, you meant to, though. Like, I liked her acting, but yeah, she was also quite one-dimensional. Like, not one note, not as one-dimensional. But I like her in the first scene. Where was Crouching Tiger? Because that was, 25 years ago?
That was quite a long time ago. Yeah, quite a long time ago.
So she was amazing in a film 20 years ago. Great. It's like you're known for a thing. Was she even? She wasn't even the lead in that, was she?
Yeah, she was one of the main characters. Don't know her lead though.
She looks about the same as in Discovery. So either she hasn't aged in 20 years, or she looked old as a young person. That's really interesting, actually. She looks, obviously, we've not got close-ups to compare the wrinkle amount, but wow, she has not changed her face shape in 20 years. That's cool, actually. Wow.
Yeah.
Good.
Pretty impressive.
Her. Yeah. Good for her.
It's even like the lady in Boba Fett's protege now. And she's like 57. She does not look 57. Ooh. Not even remotely. So.
No. And she was great in Stargate Universe. Yeah. Where's the Christopher Pike series coming out? Well, after they film some stuff. Oh, and Lisa Jericho, Tomorrow Never Dies. Yes, everyone's favourite Bond movie. She's alright in that. I like the concept of that movie rather than the movie itself, if that makes sense. Like I think it's quite forgettable as a movie. I should rewatch.
I'm not sure which one it is. So
the one with the media tycoon guy, all about the news. So there you go. Piers Brosnan, his third one.
They all kind of bleed together for me.
Yeah, because he fought Sean Bean, Robert Carlyle, the British guy who's the media tycoon, and then the Asian guy that became the English guy. I guess I don't know the actor's name. I don't know. Have you seen the James Bonds in 4K? Because they came out in 4K, but they're madly expensive.
No.
I really want to see those in 4K.
Lisa Jericho says Asian ladies age really well. Just look at Ming Na Wen. Yeah, yes, some do. It's like every other culture. Some do, but yeah, you see other like Asian ladies in like some shows that are 60 that are like shriveled old. Well, so you can't say that. You can't say it's everyone.
It's one of those things where like George Takei, we saw him in like 2012, and he looked exceptionally good. And then within the space of 5 years, he went from being middle-aged Asian-looking guy to, oh no, he's all that age suddenly came on his face. you know. Shut up.
That was the worst.
Phrasing.
Worst. Oh my god.
Basically, some of those actors, yeah, they stayed looking the same for a long time and then, you know, looked older instantly. I don't know if that's, you know, a thing with them, but oh, Michelle's in a Jackie Chan film.
Yeah. Sebastian, aka Space Daddy, throws in €2. Who'd like to see the Adventures of Morn? No one.
Oh. No, Lower Decks episode. Morn comes onto the ship, and it's just Tilly and Morn. He doesn't say a damn thing. That would be great. I would watch that. Wouldn't you want to watch the episode? Next week on Lower Decks. Oh my god, it's Morn! Who's Morn? You don't know Morn? Everyone knows Morn. And then they don't explain who he is. It's just like, it's Morn. Listen, Jericho. Only the Daniel Craig ones are in 4K, not the fun ones yet. No, they're all in 4K. You can watch them in 4K on streaming. I was able to see a clip of Die Another Day in 4K, and it's great. Looks really, really nice. So you can get them in 4K. Or you can buy them via online in 4K. They're all remastered. Obviously, they get, you know, a lot of the time though, as you may or may not, Stuart, the way the 4K-ness, like, even though you're getting the resolution, a lot of that is just the noise, because the detail is there, but you're getting the fine pixel noise. So without actually doing like a noise reduction, which then lowers the amount of detail in the shot, it's like you are getting more detail, but then you have to compensate with the noise, and then you're actually getting less detail. That's why some of the TNG stuff looks worse, because they denoised it a lot, and then sometimes like that's really noisy, but the detail's there. But it's just, yeah. That's why going to 6K there is, because you can go up to 6K with 35mm.
They're going up to 8K TVs and stuff because they're future proofing.
Yes, digital you shoot up to 8K, but that's a completely different standard. But you can go up to 6K with 35mm, but at that point you are mostly getting just noise. There is almost no extra detail like worth it percentage wise into 6K. So it, you know, and you know, obviously I'm trying to get better digital removal of noise, but yeah, there isn't much beyond 4K that's actually worth getting. Yeah.
Cool. Dan23, do you want more short treks? Yes. Short treks have been very successful in my opinion. Even the ones that aren't really hits, even the misses, the way they tie them into the main season, I like. It shouldn't be a prerequisite. You have to watch them though, to understand what's going on.
Well, the short treks are either what actor have we got on the set? What actor isn't on the call sheet this week? Let's bring him for a day shoot. And, you know, it's reusing what we've got, but that's called being creative. The thing is, like, I remember the short with Pike and the test. Brilliant until the end, where you see the garbage engineering room. Like, they ruined it. They absolutely ruined their own short by one thing, you know. It's like a good short shown with massive disrespect of the audience is like, well, same with the elevator. The elevator was good until the singing and the pulled out the elevator. Like, the singing ruins it drastically for me. It's just don't buy it for a second. But before that, it's good. It's just shit before that. Yeah.
Mr. Jericho says the PS5 is 8K. Yeah, it's 8K, but it doesn't play 3D movies, so it can piss right off.
And also 8K is all upscaled. It doesn't have an 8K Blu-ray player. There isn't an 8K Blu-ray player. You can output in 8K if you have a certain HDMI. So can the Xbox One X, but it's all upscaled via DLS, etc. So nothing can natively render 8K. Like, I've got a 3090 for rendering, and I can, you know, it's an 8K device when using DLSS, which renders at 4K upscale. So 8K is not a thing yet, although you should.
Not yet.
But I mean, shooting in 8K with a digital camera and then downscaling to 1080 is a very good way of like crisping it a lot. But guys, last super chat score, we've got, you know, an okay number. Oh, it's Michelle Yeoh and Sunshine. Didn't realise that. That I like that movie. Because that's the problem. Before you were in Star Trek, you're just one of the other actors, you know. But as soon as you're in Star Trek, they're always going to be that person to you, and now you're always going to see them in every other thing. You know, like Morn. Morn's in CIS. He's in Galaxy Quest. He's everywhere. You know, Morn. Didn't think my joke was funny.
It's a true story. BJ Turan, $5. Super Cop is a great action film with a lot of comedy. Jackie Chan and Michelle Yeoh did all their own stunts. Outtakes are hilarious.
I have to watch Sunshine again because I did not even register, and she hasn't aged either in that film. Because that was 2007. Have you seen Sunshine?
No, I don't think so.
It's sort of a horror, sort of not. It's a really good concept and it's well executed. It's got a nice grit to it, but still a big high concept, and the ending's quite interesting. To actually rewatch that. It's not fun to watch. like BSG isn't necessarily fun to watch, but you get why it's really good. You know.
Yeah.
And there's a really good, and it's a good blend of CG with like not feeling like CGI, even though it's 2007, where that's kind of balance of it's not quite there yet. I'll see if it's good in that. That'd be kind of fun, actually. I wonder if I actually have got that and it's on my Blu-ray shelf. I don't actually.
Captain America is in Sunshine.
Yes, he is.
No, Chris, whatever his name is.
Yeah, one of the few. No. Oh, it's a Danny Boyle film, which is why it's a bit weird.
Oh, okay.
It's good though.
Yeah.
It's got Cillian Murphy. Is that his name? I think it's his name. It's good. It's a good film.
Well,
there we go, Stuart. I think we've answered the question of let's talk about Georgiou and Star Trek Section 31. The answer is yes.
If done properly.
Hey, we got a fast super chat. Epicness. Oh, and yes, Metallic fan. Yes, certainly, I agree.
I think we have seen what? Last super chat. I got the last one was BJ Turan, which I already read.
Oh, it just popped up on my thing then. Sorry. You're right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, what the hell? Mine's not working.
Yes.
Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us. Join us tomorrow for our prediction video for the next episode of Discovery.
Which I think will be a really confusing conversation.
Probably. I haven't really looked at it since then, so I don't remember.
Just remember my first reaction vibes of
Yeah. Jeff Jacobs, $2. Oh, oops. Yay. 150. Yeah, we hit 150. So thank you guys so much. So tune in tomorrow and then keep your eyes peeled to make sure you click the notification bell icon to all to get notified when we're doing our lives and uploads, because over the next 2 weeks, it's going to be a little bit janky. So, but understandably so. So just don't be mad at us.
But we still did film some content to release. So we've got stuff going out all this week and for Christmas. I have got a plan to release some of my I made them earlier this year bonus stuff over the break so that you saw something each day, because we know the algorithm punishes you for not doing regular content. So I had a little idea to have you release some fun special stuff for you guys that hopefully enjoy. They're not very long, but they're fun to watch. So do tune in and do go and look at my Eagles review, because we could do some more views on that if you haven't already.
So watch them and share the videos is what he's saying, and hit like on them too. And analytics are important.
Thanks so much for joining in. Right close to Christmas. Good luck with your last minute shopping preparation. I've done some prep today, and I'll do some more prep tomorrow.
Yeah, I got a little bit left to do, and got my tooth filled today. It's just kind of sore. Let it be denumbing. That's why I haven't been talking much.
I'll be talking. I didn't notice yet. Didn't notice the difference. So well done.
Well, there you go. All right, guys. So thank you so much. We will see you later. Have yourselves a good one. And if you don't see us before, if you don't tune in for live tomorrow, we're saying Merry Christmas and Happy New Year now. But definitely Merry Christmas. You'll hopefully see us live before the New Year. But anyway, yes. Have a good, safe one. And you know the routine. Until then, he's Commander Cocky.
He's Commander Foley.
Bye.